Hello, and welcome to Do It for Grantley, a podcast brought to you by Fortress Fund Managers, where we speak with women and men in Barbados about their Grantleys and other money matters. I'm Kim Howard, Marketing Manager at Fortress, and my co-host is Omar Kennedy.
Hello, listeners.
An entrepreneur, author, and former financial manager. In today's episode, Delayed Gratification, Fortress's René Delmas and Melinda Belle of Astrape Finance return to offer some guidance on how to effectively plan for a comfortable retirement so you can still live your best life today without compromising your tomorrow. We appreciate you taking the time to listen to us. So let's get to it.
Financial security doesn't grow on trees. It's built brick by brick with smart investments and a strong partner. To retirement, education, and whatever your future may hold, we say bring it on. At Fortress Fund Managers, we're not afraid of the hard work, long hours, or steady saving, just like you aren't. We know better than anyone that you can't just hope for good luck. Call Fortress Fund Managers on 435-7777 to build your personal fortress.
Your future, our business. Fortress.
Hello, guys.
Hey.
Hi.
Morning all. Good to be here again.
René and I both work with Fortress. Fortress Fund Managers is a mutual fund company who've been on operation in Barbados since 1996, and we manage mutual funds investments for both individuals and organizations. Omar, explain to us a little bit more about mutual funds.
A mutual fund is an investment product where persons can pool together their monies so it can be invested en masse all over the world. Fortress invests locally, regionally, and internationally in a whole bunch of things which are fantastic. Stocks, bonds, real estate, governments, publicly traded companies. And whereas the individual may not be able to invest in the hundreds or thousands of different investments which Fortress has invested in, when you come in as an investor and pool your monies together with everyone else, you can then become a part owner in all of these different investments all over the world. So in investing in a mutual fund through Fortress, you get to minimize your risk because it works on the principle of diversification, not putting all of your eggs in one basket, and you get to minimize your risk and maximize your potential return for investing.
That sounds pretty awesome to me.
It's pretty awesome.
Tell me something. We're going to talk about some words here that some people find scary. The first one being retirement. So when you hear retirement, René, do you find that something that sounds like a scary concept? And if so, is that why we push it to the back of our minds, at least some of us?
Well, I guess you should first say it's not a scary concept to me, given that I've spent the last 30-odd years in that kind of environment.
As a retired person?
Not as a retired person. Helping people to become successful retirees. But I guess it is kind of intimidating, and people do tend to push it away or to the back simply because it's such a concept that is so far away into the future. Why bother to deal with it? I can get to that the next day, next week, next month. Unfortunately, if you take that position, you find out at some point in time in your life, probably a year or so before you retire and have no regular income, that you should have saved for retirement when you were 20 and 21. So unfortunately, a lot of people do find themselves in that position. But it is no different than saving to go on a holiday, saving to buy a car, saving to buy a piece of land. You have to have a plan. You have to start now. And the earlier you start, the better it is, because you get the magic of that compound interest working for you.
I don't know if it's the same thing, though, René, because if you're saving for a car or to go on a holiday, you can go to the bank and get a loan or the credit union for any of those things. I've not heard of any retirement loans. Are there such things?
You're absolutely correct, Kim. I have never heard of a retirement loan, and hence what makes it all that much more serious and important to do just that. Because, look, barring all things, we will get to retirement. Unfortunately, some of us may not get there. There may be death, but generally we'll get there. And then we'll probably live another 30 years. So when you're not working, you don't have that income stream coming in, how are you going to live? And Omar could probably tell you the probability of winning the lotto, but it is probably very, very low, and you're probably not going to win the lotto. So how do you get there? You save and you invest from early.
You know, and the funny thing is, René, that I've found, you know, the retirement age is going up in Barbados all the time. And if you come and start to work straight out of school, you may be spending 30, 40, even 50 years working. And after working for 50 years, Kim just shuddered. After working for 50 years, you want to know that you can settle down at the end of your working life and say, I had a good run. I know the good times really start. And you don't want to sit down at 65, 67, 70 and then say, oh my goodness, how am I even going to eat? Because, you know, now should be your time to really, really enjoy yourself when you have all the free time in the world. So retirement is a very, very important thing.
But I'll just jump in here and tell you, Kim, I am a realist, and I do see the change from generation to generation. In my father's time, he would have spent all his working life with one company. With me, I was born in 1960. I'm sort of got into the transition. I've had like 3 jobs now, and I'll probably retire with just having 3 jobs. But my children and their contemporaries, I have seen it where they have no concept of retirement. They want to see the world, and if they get rich, they want it done in a very short space of time. Mm-hmm. They're not prepared to slave away at a company for 40 years. They turn the whole thing upside down. Mm-hmm. I hope it works out for them, but I have noticed this change in how people perceive retirement and what it means and how they go about funding it or not, as the case may be.
So René and Melinda, you would say that there is more instant gratification and less delayed gratification in the young persons growing up?
Yes, I would say that. So it's important also to look at the short term, but it's also important to look at the long term. Yes, you have to live day by day. You have to make decisions daily with your money. But then also, I think it has a lot to do with not seeing, you know, the end in sight. So just because you're young, you think that you have a lot of time on your side, but really, truly, you don't. Simply put, delayed gratification is setting aside money for spending later. Mm-hmm. And I think people are more into, you know, consuming right now than actually setting aside for later. And I think there's a balance that you can strike. There are 3 different types of goals I always talk about. The short term, which occur within a year or less, intermediate term, which occur within 2 to 5 years, and long term, which occur within 6+ years. So while you're realistically looking at, you know, the different types of goals, you're still working towards achieving that long-term goal. So it's really, really important to have the long term in mind, especially as a young person. It may not seem like the popular thing to do, but there was an article that I read, and a guy went to visit his aunt, I think, or grandmother, I'm not sure, and he said that he went looking in her cupboard and he found dog food, and then he was like, well, she doesn't have any dogs, and then she said that's the food that she eats because she did not properly plan for retirement. So that shook me. And I always say, you know what, if you do not plan for retirement now, you're stealing money from yourself in the future. So it's really, really important to actually ensure you have that plan in place for the long term.
That is true and sobering.
Rather, I actually thought that dog food story was going in a completely different direction. I thought it was like, you know, she was envisioning the life of the dog she was going to have.
Exactly. That
was not
where twist ending, you know.
But okay, so I think back to myself, like when I first started working, like literally my first job out of school, and I probably saved, I don't know, like 1/200th of the money that I earned in that time before I went off to university, because I worked before I went to university. But I do know that there are a number of nightclubs and parties that benefited from my hard work.
Preach.
And I'm pretty much sure that a lot of Bridgetown stores also benefited every Saturday from the outfits that I needed to go to these events.
Same here.
So I want to go back and tell myself at, you know, that age at 20, like, come on, girl, you can do better than this. Are the two things possible? Like, can I party and save for my retirement? Or, like, do I have to party first and get out of my system and then save for retirement?
Oh no, I think you can certainly do both. And
I think so.
It's a matter of priority. And I've always gone through life to say, what, and this concept that I keep referring to, paying yourself first. What are your priorities? Well, you have to pay income tax, national insurance, mortgage, life insurance.
Frontline costume.
Retirement. Whatever it is for you that works. I'm not saying what is good for me is good for you, but the point is that you map out your objectives, your strategy, and you stick to it. And yes, I've always found there will always be something left over to enjoy life, because you have to enjoy life. But there's a time and place for everything. When I had the four boys, life was very hard and tough. But guess what? They're now over 21. They all have jobs. I have no mortgage. I'm going to England in June. So there's a time and place for everything, and you just have to keep that always. And where you are, you adjust to suit.
I wanted to add something to that. I think a problem too in Barbados is that, to quote the local vernacular, we watch too much face. And you would watch what other people are doing and say, well, Omar's out every weekend, so I could go every weekend too. But they don't know that I'm putting down 5 cents a weekend into my retirement plan or into my investments. So you have to be careful that you're only seeing one aspect of person's lives. And when you see people out, it does not mean they're not investing. And the second thing I'd like to add is a point which we kind of touched on a little bit earlier, is that investing, when you do it from early enough, is easy. You take $5 every week, you put it down, and, you don't buy that extra piece of chicken when you're going out, and you put it into your future.
$15?
I'm sorry. Yeah. Right. So, you just put a small amount down, and then you go to some place like Fortress. I think, Kim, you said the additional amount to invest is what, $50 is what you said?
Yeah, you open with 100 and you can then continue with 50 a month.
Exactly. So $50 a month, that is 10 pieces of chicken, which you just did not buy. And, you can start putting it towards your retirement. And if you invest for a long time horizon, René can go through the specifics on this, over, say, 20, 30 years, those $50 will add up. Well, with what compound interest, So these are things that you have to be cognizant of. It's never too early or too late to start thinking about investing in retirement, but definitely sooner you start thinking about it, I personally believe that the better it is for you in the long run.
Yeah, and you may think at the time, what's $5 or what's even $50? What's $50 going to do for me when I retire? But it's not $50 only, because it's going to be the $50 that you're going to save, say, on a monthly basis that you're going to commit to. By the time will come when you'll be making more money. Correct. And so you may be able to do more than $50. You might be able to do $75. You might be able to do $200, as the time goes on. But more importantly, if that money's invested, then that money is going to be compounding. You're going to make returns on that, and then make returns on top of those returns. And so it's going to build up, and you will be pleasantly surprised at how far that could get you at the time of retirement.
That was the magic of compound interest, just for those of you who remember school days.
You're right, René. And there's some companies where you have additional voluntary contributions for your pension, where you can add in a something from your salary extra, and some of your companies they can even match it for you. So I don't want to call it free money, because I don't believe there's free money, but if you're lucky enough to have a company which will match what you put in for your additional voluntary contribution, do it. Because these things will add up over the long run. So your $50 may turn into $100 when the month comes. So that is a fantastic thing. Speak to your bosses, see what can be done, because there are mechanisms in place to help you down the road.
And I would say, too, those are options for people who work in companies where there is a pension plan.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But there's nothing to say that you can't have that going on and do something else as well.
Absolutely.
So that $5 that you may decide to put as the extra in your additional voluntary contribution for your pension at your pension plan, if your company has that, then that has nothing to do with maybe another $5 that you could put aside in another investment, separate, nothing to do with your work. That's just you owning up for you. And that money can also be invested. So you've got 2 sets of income that are going to be coming at you when you get to the point when you're going to need it. When you can't get a loan, there is no credit card. Well, you could get a credit card, but then how are you going to pay it? So there's no loan, and you don't want to eat dog food. Because that is not an option that I am willing to consider, and I don't think most people would want to have to consider. Is there any reason why you shouldn't wait on a company, though, to do that for you? Tell us why, or somebody shouldn't wait on a company, basically, to offer them a pension plan.
Yeah, because if you don't have that luxury of a group pension plan, well, then who's going to do it for you but yourself? You must take responsibility, Kim. And if this has also been spoken to you about in the home while you're growing up, you will see that is just a natural thing to do. And studies have shown time and time again, the more money you earn, the more you're going to spend. And it's just a matter of keeping that focus about retirement and enjoying life by all means. But just put aside something for retirement. It's as simple as that. And it will work for you.
I have a question for Melinda. Now, I was in the rat race a while ago, and now I'm an entrepreneur. And it's very important for entrepreneurs also to think about their retirement and their pension, because they don't have a company who's going to say, I'm going to deduct XYZ from your salary and put it into a pension plan. For someone like us who are working for themselves in our businesses and whatnot, tell me, what do you think? How would you advise your own clients who are entrepreneurs about their pensions and whatnot?
Absolutely. Entrepreneurs should have some form of plan for retirement. But I think the issue is that the consistency of the income that they actually earn. Mm-hmm. If it's not consistent, then they might find it a challenge to actually, set aside that money to accumulate it. Also, I think it goes back to actually, knowing how your company is performing. Because if you don't know your numbers, then you can't essentially make proper decisions with your money. Mm-hmm. So it's really important to know whether or not your company is profitable, and so on and so forth. And also, it would be ideal if they actually have the training to actually manage their finances, because the problem is with some entrepreneurs is that they're not able to separate your personal from your business, and they put everything, which is why I always strongly recommend that if you're running a business, make sure you have a business bank account. Mm-hmm. You do not necessarily need to put all of that money on your personal account, and then everything gets muddled, and then you're not able to determine how much money did I spend on the business? How much money did I pay myself? So even out of actually having a business bank account, try at some point to actually pay yourself a salary. Then what you pay yourself, you actually put it into your personal account. And then you would be able to, have a retirement plan in place for yourself.
Agreed. Any tips, René?
No, I think that point is absolutely critical. The actual separation. As difficult as it is, even if you can pay yourself a quote-unquote salary and deem that to be your income, then you have that to spend. But temptation can get the better of us, and we dip into it as a personal piggy bank.
Yeah, but that speaks to discipline, and that we recognize that we have to be disciplined because we don't want to eat dog food when we're old. That's just.
You're harping on that.
I'm harping on it because I still feel I'm shaking.
In my 30 years in this business, I've never heard about this dog food story. I think it's
are you glad?
Yeah. But there you go.
I actually was reading a book recently. Well, I'm not quite done, but it's one that was recommended to me a long time ago called The Wealthy Barber. And by a guy named David Chilton. And it's recognized as a leading personal finance book. And one of the points that I've learned and been trying to take on board, and I figure it's not too late, is that you save at least 10% of what you make. So in the instance where you're speaking of entrepreneurs where your income may not be consistent, this month you make a big sale and you've got more money than you would normally get in a month, 10% of that is still 10% of that. So even if next month you don't make as many sales, then it's 10% of whatever that is next month. And I think that way, that kind of works towards the same approach that we recommend for investing, where instead of trying to guess when things are going to be awesome and only buying, investing in mutual funds or stocks or whatever at that point. You put a consistent amount down, whether it's the $50 a month, $100 a month, whatever the case may be. And then it averages out over time, something that they call dollar cost averaging, which we won't get into now. But yeah, the idea of being disciplined and committing to a percentage of whatever you earn. So you've only earned $10, but 10% of that $10 is $1. So you can save $1. Another month you're earning $5,000, so you get 10% of that, which is yeah, there we go. That, and you save that amount. But it's that same principle. So discipline, I think, is what's required.
Oh, definitely. I found in my latter years in the industry, and I think René can speak to this as well, you would find a lot of persons saying, why should I think about retirement? I could be dead tomorrow. And it's a very, very sad statement to hear young persons make in Barbados. René, how do we combat that?
That's a difficult one, because when you say difficult one, it's so absurd. You just wonder how you could reason with anybody who takes that position. Because yes, I could have died the month after I got married, or right after I had my 4 children. And if I didn't have life insurance, then how would my wife have survived? So, I always take it. I said that this has to be a personal decision. And are you prepared to take the risks? And if you're prepared to take the risks, then so be it. But when I lay down on a night, I know that if anything happens to me or my house, I'm covered. So if you're going to take that position, my response to that is, well, what if you don't die?
Precisely.
Tomorrow? And what if you live to be 92?
Exactly.
How's that going to help you? So we can't predict life, but we can manage it.
Agreed, I like that.
And that's how you manage life.
Melinda, same question to you. What do you think we can encourage people to think about in terms of starting early and committing to saving for their retirement, even when they think, I could dead tomorrow?
It's important to have vision. And if you have a limited vision, well, you're going to behave in a limited manner. But as a young person, and I know there's peer pressure that we have to deal with, but really and truly, you have to think about what's best for you, not necessarily what everybody else is doing, because what everybody else is doing may not be good for you. So you have the ability to determine what your financial path should be. And I always encourage people, you don't have to walk the same way other people, walk on their different financial paths. So it has a lot to do with having vision and the mindset. You can be mature and be a young person. So it's really, really important that you do set aside. And then it may not be the culture to do so as well too. So it's just a matter of just renewing our minds, and if at all possible, link up with a mentor who could guide you along the way.
I think a difficulty is when we're at work, we find that our employers focus on the bottom line. We must have revenues, we must keep our costs down, net profits must be up. But I find I would like to see more businesses sitting down and saying to their staff, we value you, we care about you, let's talk about your future, whether it's here or otherwise. Because, you may not all, as René said, persons are not staying with one company for the rest of their lives anymore. So even when you leave, if you go someplace else, you'll go with your knowledge, knowing that, yes, my pension is important. Yes, my future is important. Savings are important. So I believe I would like that businesses going forward would actually take a little bit more time. I know some do it. See more businesses going out and saying, I want to make sure that whether you are here or not, you are taken care of.
Right. And I think there's that, and I also think that we all have to take responsibility and own our own future as well.
Absolutely.
So just as much as we're going to plan for the outfit to wear to the next cruise, we're also going to plan for the outfit that we're going to wear when we're not eating dog food. So, so thank you all for listening.
The dog food episode.
The dog food episode. The delayed gratification episode. Thanks both of Melinda and René for being here today. It's been Do It for Grantley.
Do It for Grantley is a production of Fortress Fund Managers. Listen to more episodes on SoundCloud or on our website, fortressfund.com. That's fortressfund.com. We'd love to hear from you. Email us at info@fortressfund.com or message us on Facebook or Instagram at Fortress Fund Managers. Most people find out about podcasts through recommendations. So spread the word and tell your friends about our show. Until next time, I'm Kim Howard.
And I'm Omar Kennedy.
Thanks for listening.